It has happened to me. My 2 sons and I were vacationing at Disney World in Orlando, staying at the Wilderness Lodge. At the hotel we head for the pool. I had a split-second flash of seeing my son fall behind me down the steps. I immediately turned back towards him and it happened exactly as I seen it. I've had other experiences but I dreamed of it before it happened. That was the only time I had the act happen in my head, while awake, before it happened. Funny thing was, even as I turned towards my son to catch him, because I had this overwhelming flash of future, I still could not stop the act from actually happening. It was so strong. I still think about it. That was 16 years ago. Meta. Trying to find post about a woman who shared an apartment with a woman in another dimension. A couple years ago I fell down a glitch rabbit hole and read a story about a woman and her son who lived in an apartment complex. She worked from home and I think the son was homeschooled. They would regularly have people come to the door and ask for someone named Tina, but that wasn't the woman's name, or her son's name, for that matter. When she would insist Tina didn't live there, they would describe Tina and claim they'd just spoken to her at that same apartment the week or month before, but the woman had lived there for years. The theory was that this woman and Tina were sharing the same apartment, but on the border of a parallel universe. I don't think the post about the story was housed on this sub, but I definitely found the link to it from somewhere on here. Does anyone remember anything like this? Update. Thanks to you, PinkStation00 for knowing what I was talking about. It's the Terra people over at ATS. http://www. Above top secret. Love, partner who never existed. Help please? Hi Reddit. I really hope I'm posting this in the right place as I am pretty new here. Well, I have read posts on here quite a few times in the past. This is all still pretty fresh and I'll be wholeheartedly honest and say I still don't know what to truly think. Just for a little context, I am happily married and have been for 7 years now. I am in my late 30s and I am really damned happy with my life right now and almost every aspect of it. I have only ever dated and only ever been with my wife. A late bloomer, I guess. I'll just get straight to it. Last Thursday I went to bed around 11 p.m. Not exactly late, I know. I don't really ever remember my dreams. But for once I did, and I swear I feel truly fucking heartbroken. I had this vivid dream that I was with an ex-girlfriend. We'd gone out for a few years. We'd be just cuddling on the sofa. We'd be watching movies, chatting shit as you do, and just feeling in love. Like really in love. That kind of love you feel when you've been together so long you can feel each other walk into the freaking postcode. Towards the end of the dream, she cut me off, for no reason. Just, poof. My heart sank and I woke up fucking crying like a baby. My wife consoled me and everything was fine. I'm at the work a few hours later and all of these freaking memories are racing around my head. All the years of amazing, loving and just fun experiences we had together. Our bad times and our good. The way her hair smelled. The fact that her younger sister Emily would always try to record music that was playing on the TV with her phone because it was cool to do so back then. Her dog Ray would jump on the sofa between us and always get jealous of me. He'd try and pin me down if we were ever play fighting. Hell, once he even tried to sneakily sniff my ass whilst we were fucking. It was hilarious and still makes me chuckle out loud thinking about it. There's honestly too much to mention. I'm not adding some stupid twist here, it's just that I'm struggling to explain it, especially to myself. My ex, Damaris, never existed. Honestly, I just don't even know. I fucking loved this girl with everything I had for years. I know her address, at least back then. She helped me through shit, real personal shit most people would avoid with everything they have. I remember every aspect of how amazing that time was. I remember more about her than I do spending time with my own fucking parents. How is that right? What kind of a messed up soul do you have to be to remember more about a girl that never existed than the people who raised you? I've not told anybody about this. I don't know how anybody will react, especially my wife. Just what the hell is this? All I had was a random dream and now it's like somebody's uploaded a fucking hard drive's worth of content, deep content straight into my memories. Thanks for reading. I could talk all day about this because it's just mental and keeps bringing tears to my eyes just thinking back on it all. I've looked for her on social media and everything. Nothing. I'll be on for a while if anybody wants to chat. I predicted the day of my cat's death as an 8-year-old. Nearly 17 years ago, I said hello to a cat that would end up being my best friend, my shoulder to cry on, my cuddly pal who slept on my head every single night. She was my entire world. Even when I first picked her up as an 8-year-old, I cried thinking of the day that she would leave me. I remember sitting in my room, sobbing, wondering how long my cat would stay with me. It was during that moment that I clearly envisioned the number 27. Ever since that day, I have tried to understand what it meant. I had thought until recently that it meant she would live until I was 27. But I was wrong. She started to get very sick in the past few months, and on Saturday of this Memorial Day weekend, she couldn't get up anymore. I knew it was over. I scooped her up in my arms, and drove her to an emergency 24-hour vet. They were the only place in the area that was open at the time, and I couldn't watch her suffering anymore. It was clear her mind wanted to go on, but her body had already begun the process of shutting down. Just before 11 p.m. on Saturday, the vet injected her while I held her in my arms and said goodbye. I don't think I've ever cried so much in my life. But as I walked out to my car, I realized what the date was, and I felt a little sick. May 27, 2017. Rest in peace, Athena. A car I drove for a year magically just switched and nobody remembers my old one. Help? Edit. https://u2. B. Zeke Ju PHVO0. This is a link to a video I made of my Mustang and the tree people asked for it. I have no idea how to make sense of this. I seriously think I am going fucking nuts. When I was in grade 10 I got my license. For my first car I got a black done-up 1983 Mustang Foxbody. I drove this car until the following summer. It had a few problems and wouldn't start that winter, but magically it worked during the spring. I think my dad secretly fixed it for me, but he says he didn't. Anyways, fast forward to the summer and I am working in a lumberyard. 10-hour days 5 days a week. It's a decent job. I drive the Stang to work. It's a manual and it's a ton of fun. Midsummer rolls around and during one of these big sales we had at the store a contractor tipped me an amp. A guy the first worked with $10 each. My mum was at a conference for a few days and my dad works shift work 2 weeks on 1 off. Basically my parents aren't home and I decided to try and hit up the liquor store and see if I get ID'd. I am 17 living in Canada where the drinking age in my province is 18 and amp. I look much older with a full beard and at the time I was a pretty big guy. I go in. There was an old lady working there and she made conversation and didn't seem to care about my age. I bought 2 Colt 45s because they worked out to almost exactly $10. I make the 20-minute drive home out in the countryside to my acreage and proceed to drink the 2 40s in about a half hour. Disclaimer, I was stupid but also young. I would never do this now. I decided it'd be fun to hop in the Stang and go rip around my fair-sized yard, driveway. Long story short, I am really drunk and I crash right into a tree while going about 40 km/h down the driveway. I get out stunned, feeling like an idiot and colossally sad because my front end of my Mustang is smashed. Luckily the Stang was a built-for-race-purposed car and there was no airbags. I turn the car on, it seems to drive fine, but the one light on the driver's side is completely smashed. So much so that you can see into the engine bay. My hood is also buckled like maybe an inch or two. I decide to call my mum in the morning and deal with it. I go to bed early, sad and drunk. Wake up the next day. Get ready for work. Wait a bit, call into work, say I'd hit a deer and would be late. Call my mum and say the same thing. It's a believable story despite being broad daylight. I drive to work, everyone checks out my car. I made sure to take all the wood and shit out. Say the hair, fur must be blown away on the drive-in. Drive the Stang like that, planning on fixing it when I get my next paycheck. One day at work it rains, like I mean rains. It fucking floods. I live in a hick town, everyone drives trucks and when there's big puddles they drive through them. After work me and the work guys go to a big ass puddle that couldn't drain on the road behind our community center and drive through it. They tell me to give it a whirl. I say fuck it and drive the whip through it. Long story short, the rapid freezing of my car's block from the water that I am assuming in part got in through my hole where my light used to be caused it to crack, and then a rod punched a decent hole in my block. Feels bad, man. Am sad. Loved the car. Realize I am incredibly stupid. Use mum's truck to get to work until payday, park the Mustang in the driveway. Had to get it towed. Payday comes around, I bought an Intrepid for cheap. Just needed something to get to work because mum doesn't like me miling out her new truck. Drive that car. Until yesterday. Yesterday, wake up. I got laid off a while ago. Basically I jerk off and play Xbox now. Decide to head over to my bud's and see if he wants to drink. Go upstairs. Look for my lanyard with all the little cartoon animals on it, I couldn't find it. Check the key rack. My brain does a literal, wait what the fuck? What do you think I find? Nope, no Chrysler keys but a greasy old worn down set of Mustang keys on a keyring. I should point out I eventually sold the Mustang body to a guy on Facebook buy, sell because after getting laid off I needed to lay my insurance. I grabbed the keys which I figure I must not have left in the glove box like I told the guy who grabbed the Mustang shell. Maybe my mum found them in a drawer and hung them up? I continue searching for my lanyard with my keys on it. Nothing. I decide instead to make eggs and pack my briar pipe full of some aromatic tobacco and sit on the porch. I step outside and guess what's sitting pretty in the driveway? My fucking Mustang. I don't know how to explain it. I sold it 3 months ago. I think okay, what in the fuck? My birthday is soon, maybe my parents bought it back? I run up to it. All my usual shit is in it. E-hat used to be in my Intrepid is now organized neatly behind the seats of my Mustang. I pop the hood. Same motor pre-block crack. I almost cry, I am so happy. I call my mom to say thank you. She doesn't understand, says I am wasting her time and she has to get back to work. I am going to paraphrase now because this is getting long, but apparently not only is my Mustang back, it never left. I never owned an Intrepid, there's no record of it on my insurance policies. My old work friend said when I drove it through the puddle I fucked my power steering but got it fixed and have driven it ever since. Guys, I can remember making out with girls at parties in the back seat of the Intrepid. My Mustang doesn't even have back seats. I can't explain this, help please.